couldn't figure it out.
You can't.
Technical difficulties.
Alright,
Do people
fine.
chat
We're
back
on
there?
Facebook. Hello, Facebook.
Yep. Do people think about the sound we can tell.
We're just getting into YouTube setup, hopefully, again. I don't know why we always have trouble with YouTube.
Alright, that's a little backing track for our blues and improv for ukulele. Kelly's trying to get the YouTube going. We don't know how it sounded, but Lori's watching. Did you hear the backing track? We have a delay on Facebook, so it'll be like a bunch of seconds before I get
Before
feedback.
she answers.
Yeah. So, but with the backing track, it actually sounds a little better. So, sounds good. Thank you very much.
Why does it do
It wasn't that much of a delay. Now, yeah, we're trying to wait for the YouTube because we get a lot of people on the YouTube. YouTube is very convoluted. They change things a lot, so we can't really. What's that say?
That's our title.
Yeah.
Is
Nothing live. Jeez. So, okay, the blues. That'll probably be a double, it'll be an echo in the workshop. The blues. When the YouTube goes live. So, the blues is at the heart of all American music. Rock, jazz, folk, country, bluegrass, you name it, pop, everywhere. The blues can be a feeling. I got the blues. A lot of people probably have the blues now, being cooped up indoors, right? But they should have a ukulele, then they'll be fine. The blues can be a chord progression, whereas a defined set of chords appearing in particular spots within the chord progression for it to be a blues chord progression, and we'll go over that. And also a scale, collection of notes. Now, a lot of songs can sound bluesy, you know, like Summertime. Was that the right key? Yeah, I forget the song. But a song can sound bluesy just playing like a rich melody. You can get a bluesy feeling out of it. Some chords can sound bluesy. The blues scale definitely sounds bluesy. Pentatonic, you can make a pentatonic major scale sound bluesy. Right? So what this workshop will focus on is the blues or minor pentatonic scale. We'll learn that we can pretty much consider them to be the same. We'll go over why. And we'll use the blues chord progression to make this sound good. Now when I started this out, I was using this backing tracks. It's called iReal Pro. They're really cool. You can download chord progressions. You can type in your own. I created a bunch of chord progressions. And if people want them, you can email me. So the blues chord progression part of it, and we'll use it can be a different number of measures, but 12 is the most common. You'll hear the term 12-bar blues. What that means is that the one chord of the key, and we're going to be using the key of C, C minor and C major. So it'll be a C or C minor chord is the one chord. The 4 chord, you can even count it on your fingers. C, D, E, F, or F minor is going to be the 4 chord. And G or G7 is going to be the 5 chord. Now G7 or G will be in the major or the minor blues. That's the dominant chord. And then we have the tonic, the 1 chord, the C major or C minor. And then the F or F minor for the 4 chord. They call that the subdominant. Right? Now those chords, because you can have lots of songs that have a 1, 4, 5 chord progression. The C, F, and G or G7 in it.
Sorry, I figured out the problem.
Yeah, a sigh of relief, but not relief.
Maybe. I think... What time is it?
Yeah, 10 after. No, is it? Yeah, got 2 minutes.
I think that's why. I think it was set for 10
Scheduled?
after.
No, 10 after.
No, it's not.
All right. Back.
Sorry.
Yeah, technical difficulties. YouTube is very convoluted.
Yeah, you said that already.
Yeah, darn. So, now those chords do need to show up in a particular part of the chord progression in order to be an actual blues. Use the 12, we call them post chords. 12-bar blues, C needs to be or a direct substitute in measure 1 of the first 4 measures. So this, now let's measure 1, 2, 3, 4. There's the 1 chord. Then measure 5 needs to be the 4 chord or a direct substitute. Measure 6 needs to be back to the 1 chord. Okay, and then we have measure 8. I got my counting wrong. So measure 1, measure 5, measure 7. Then we have measure 9 needs to be the 5 chord. 9 and 10 or a direct substitute for that 5 chord, and then back to measure 1. This is the very basic minor blues. Same would apply for a major blues. The only difference being C major or F major. Now we're going to do the blues scale to start with, or minor pentatonic. So we'll start with that scale. So I didn't write that down, but a lot of people know it. So we'll start with the C in the open position. So play the open C, string 3 open. That's your C. And the next note, now this scale does come out of a larger, it's a synthetic scale. It's a 5-note scale, hence the name pentatonic, a minor pentatonic. It comes out of a larger scale. It can come from the Aeolian natural minor scale or the Dorian scale. So C, and then we have E flat, fret 3 of string 3. You can use your 3rd finger. Now what finger you use determines the position you're in, because we are going to be playing fret 1s. So C, E flat, already sounds bluesy. F, finger 1, string 2, fret 1. G, finger 3, string 2, fret 3. Now remember this F and the G, because they'll become pretty important when we want to automatically sound good playing, improvising, making up our own lines over the blues. And then fret 1 on string 1 is B flat. It needs to be called B flat in this key and not A sharp. B flat. And then finally the C, the octave. So C to C, B flat, G, F, E flat, C. Like that, you have I shot the sheriff to lick. Alright, so C, E flat, F, G, B flat, C. Now that is called the minor pentatonic scale, technically. It comes out of the C natural minor scale, which would have a D in it for C, D, E flat, F, G, then it would have an A flat, which we're not using, and then B flat, C. So it's missing the 2nd note and the 6th note of the scale. So C, E flat, F, G, B flat, C. Now play it to get the sound. Ascending C to the octave C, and then descending If you had a pause between descending, you can play that C again. If you play it continuously, you don't have to stop, just play back. That's a very exotic sound to it, the blues and pentatonic scales. Very oriental sound, Asian. Just run your fingers. Now it doesn't sound like music yet. Alright, C, E flat, F, G, B flat, C. Write them down. Alright. Yeah, we are doing YouTube. As you know, YouTube not working.
I go through the same steps that I just did at 1 o'clock and it's not working. It's telling me to download streaming software.
We're losing a lot of people now.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Alright, so now, so you get your fingers to locate the notes, find out where they're at. Initially, without any chords or nothing, you can make some notes longer, shorter, just to get the sound. Now, by itself, this sounds pretty lame, actually. Right? You need some somebody to accompany you while you're playing these. Now you can do this. Now there is a whole list. If you go to my website, learningukulele.com, there's tons of stuff on the blues chord progression and the blues scale, and it will list the chords that this works over. It's quite a large list. The C blues scale works over C, C minor, C7, F, F minor, F7, G, G minor, G7, E flat, A flat, and B flat. A bunch of chords, alright? Now notice I did say them in a particular order. I set them as the 1 chord, major, minor, and 7th. The 4 chord, major, minor, and 7th. And then the 5 chord, major, minor, and 7th. And then picked out the flat 3rd, the E flat as a chord. I even did the shape on the ukulele. A flat, the 6th, flat 6th, and then the B flat. So those are chords that work over. A lot of rock songs use these chord progressions. Now, one of the best ways to really learn and get the sound of this minor pentatonic scale is to play it against a backing track. So I could take this track that I have here, C minor, F, and G7 in the spots that make it a blues chord progression. Now, in this program, iReal Pro, I have it on my phone, I have it on the computer and the iPad, and I'm just using a little jam box, and I'll play this progression. It started in the middle because I had already played it. So I started over a second. I start from the top. Alright, and then what you want to do with the blues also is listen for those where the chords are going to change. Because then you can sit in with people and you can not know a song and you hear that it's a blues. Here comes C minor blues. 2nd measure, 3rd, 4th, F minor, back to C. Comes the G, 7. 2 measures of that. C minor. Now do this. To sound good over this, rhythm plays a big role. Just play the C on string 1, these rhythms. Change the rhythm up. Alright, so against the chords it sounds pretty good. Alright? By itself it sounds like, what the heck you doing? Ready for it? So you can play the track again, I'll play it again. And I'm just going to randomly, I'm going to play the progression again, top from low to high. And I'm just going to make some notes longer and some shorter, and it'll start to sound like music. can start on any note and end on any note. I'll start on this G. I started on it. I want to end on it. Switch to half. So just pick different notes within the scale and focus on it. Now there is little tips and tricks you can use. Here's a big one. If I hear it's on the F, my F is going to automatically sound good. The F I'm on F, back on the C, comes G, to the C, alright, so targeting particular notes that are in the chord that you have works really well. So if we're on the C chord, the C will work good, the F will work naturally, and the G will work. Alright, now if you further go and learn the spelling of the chords, say we're playing a C minor, I know it's C, E flat, G. You can even play the chord. C minor and C that you're playing C, G, E flat. Those notes are going to automatically sound good. Now this program I'm using, I'm not an endorser, I paid for it years and years ago, called iReal Pro. Has the chord progression in. You can actually highlight chords and I highlighted them, and when I play this now it's only going to play C minor. I think. There, try it. There you go. So it's only going to do C minor, so I could spend a long time just doing what I want with it. Here's my G target. Now, some people might be saying, like, why did I start with the minor blues? A big reason for starting with a minor blues is pretty much every one of the notes is going to work over those three chords. You really won't get any clashes or clunkers or run into a case where a note in your scale will be too close to a chord tone in the chord. So it's guaranteed, almost guaranteed to sound pretty good. And this program has a bunch of different styles. But now, that was the minor pentatonic. So all we have to do to make it a blues scale is to add the famous chromatic passing tone between the 4th F and the 5th G. If I'm going up, it'll be F sharp, the sharp 4, G, the 5th. If I'm going down, descending, G flat, the flat 5. So this note here between the F and the G is a lot of micro notes that they use in the blues. It's a chromatic passing tone. So there's actually no need to learn a whole new scale, just add that one note. Just add it to your blues scale. So now I'll incorporate that. And this will really start to sound like the blues now. Now at this point you can actually, which is great, is you're not with a whole bunch of other people next to you playing. So when this is playing, you can just improvise yourself. Now, that note, you'll find that it doesn't actually start out dissonant, but real quickly it starts to sound dissonant, which is very good. So you can add it anytime you want. It's a good note to go on the way between any other note. Right, so just experiment. Whack-a-mole. Play it against a track, one chord. Now, so that's blues minor pentatonic. Now we can really start to add some embellishments and cliches into this. One is you can slide into notes. So I'm going to play the C here, but I'm going to start early, 1/2 step lower on the B, and I'm going to play that note and slide into it. Now I did use the finger that would normally play the C, because that's the target, that's the note I want to play. So if I'm in this position here, the open position for the C blues scale, these fingers, that's their assignments. I want to get to those fingers. I don't want to do finger 2 here, or 2 here, or 1, or pinky, unless I'm doing something fancy. So I want to use the finger that would normally play that note to add the slide or glissando. You can do 1 fret, 2 fret, right? Can't slide into that F. So practice sliding into each one. I'll play the track, that sounds cool. Now there's a little tip I tell you, to learn everything I play wrong and everything. I heard I just played it and I didn't know where it started, so I was listening for a signature of the blues where I was listening for that 1 chord, the F minor somewhere, or the G7 to figure out where I'm at. So at one point I thought the F was coming, so I started to play my little lick leading into the F, but I was early. It didn't appear. So I just kept playing and went past and waited and then could hear when it was coming. So really listen keenly to what the backing track's going on. So you have to sort of listen 80% of what you're doing and 20% or so. Split your listening. All right, we're going to we'll post a whole workshop. It'll be, they save all the live stuff there so people that missed it. All right. Something's pausing for over 3 minutes. Grrr, that must be your computer. All right, so the slide, glissando. Right? We're just doing the open position now. So, next, hammer-ons. So, we can cleanly play each note, or we can hammer on. The hammer motion is like our fingers hooked like a little hammer, and we're going to come down hard playing the note. Right? So, you actually want to be able to do this so that you can't tell whether you picked it See, I'm out of screen, so you can't tell if I'm hammering down or picking. It's really close. So it wants to be the same volume. You can bend, vibrato. So a lot of the blues, the sound especially, is based on notes that are quite a little bit out of tune. Not quite the pitch. Usually if you bend, you can bend strings. Now sometimes if you want to bend, especially down in this lower open position, you can help your fingers out by pushing down. It's hard to bend in this open position here. If you were way up here, it's easy to bend. You can bend pretty far. Alright, so you can mix them. Bend down if you're not on string 1. Up if you're on 1, down. I I ignored string 4 for now because a lot of times you don't need string 4, right? Right. So that'll be another. We're actually going to move up the neck as we go along with this series. So this will be a couple week series, I'm sure. and we'll explore all the areas. But start here. Hammer on. Pull off. A pull off is the opposite. Hammer on, pull off. You're going to take a higher note, play that note, and slightly bend it, and then pull your finger off. Slightly bend it. So see if you can see this. See how I slightly bend it? Now when I release it, it's going to play the note of a lower note. Double. Now you can do exercises to get these anywhere. In fact, I would do this. I would take each finger, maybe start at fret 3, and hammer on, pull off. Alright, quiet there, huh? Oh, where was that? Alright, so now even at this point, there's improvisations and solos might not sound that great. So here's what you do. They definitely sound better with backing tracks. The busier the backing tracks, the better you're going to sound. Because there's more going on, so you can fit in better. You can also do this. Play the chord C minor. Then play the chord again. You'll hear how it sounds. F minor. Now, I did switch. I played F minor, but I didn't switch my fingers because they were right there. So you can play these notes with these open. Depends on the chord, right? Play 2 notes at a time. All right, double stops, triple stops. Put the track on, let me see. Here comes F. Stop it for a second there, highlight something, is I just took a 3-note little motif, C, E flat, F, right, did it like 3 times, then the 4th time changed it up, added a note or did it retro, reverse it, right, change the rhythm or something. Change the notes. There's 3 notes, so there's a lot of different ways to play it. Right? Repetition is really good. Alright. If you're playing it without the chords, even just think of the chords. C. Oh, I played a wrong note in there. E. Messed up. But I was keeping track of the chords. Now, remember that passing tone? Now, sometimes you can bar 2 strings if you want. You do them this way. Just explore, explore, explore. Right? So that's the basic C minor blues. Now, we can change all the chords except for the G to major. So C major, C, F, and G, same spots. And this is a basic blues, right? C, F, and G. I have that one here too on my iPhone. Major. Not as dark as the minor. F. C. G7. C. I'll do the same licks. So you see, so you see the minors, you have more success with the majors. You have to be a little bit more careful with the major blues because of that E flat, especially because the C chord has an E in it. So you get this sound a little bit. So sometimes you don't hang on that one, right? If you do the E flat on the F chord, it turns it into a 7th chord. And the G7 a lot works because that's the chord of tension in the our tonic dominant harmony of Western music that creates the most tension, the dominant chord wanting to go back to the home main chord. Alright, so so it can be major or minor, that blues. Majors are the most common blues. Alright? So we'll stick with major for a second. Now, alright, I'm going to turn them all into 7th chords. 7th chords inherently are a little more bluesy. They even sound bluesy. That B flat makes them sound bluesy. Alright, so I have that track here too. I can email you these tracks. They're pretty easy to get. This program's well worth it. In fact, when I recorded my CD, How About More Uke, I put all the arrangements of the songs I was going to record into this iReal Pro. I turned off the piano track and I just let the bass and drums play. And I just went over them over and over and over before the recording sessions to save money. So here you go is with the 7th chords. I'll just play it and you'll hear how it sounds a little bit. I'll actually put the screen up here maybe. What's nice about this program, you can actually highlight it. So it shows you F, what chord you're on. So when you get lost, and you will, I did, you can tell where you're at. Here comes the G. So this is a basic blues. Try anything. It ends up, everything doesn't sound good. You end up with 2 bags of ideas that you're trying. One is, whoa, that sounded pretty cool. I'm going to keep that one. The other one is not a discard one. It just needs a lot more work. Maybe it will never be as good as some of the other ones. There is some cliches. The bands. So Facebook stops and buffers. That's your internet speed, some people say. Right? Right now, the that basic blues had 4 measures of the 1 chord, C. I'll bring it up, here you go, C7. It had 4 measures of the C or C7, or C minor. Had 2 measures, 5 and 6, of the 4 chord, F, F minor, or F7. Back to the 1 chord, the C, C minor, or C7. Then it went to the 5 chord for 2 measures, the G7, or G if you want. And then finally finished with measures 11 and 12 back to the 1 chord. And then it would do a turnaround to go back. Here it just did, basically you had, once you started, you had 6 measures of the 1 chord when the song started over. So to lighten that up a little bit, what they did was what they call the quick 4 chord progression. I'm just going to play it first and then I'll show you. So you'll hear it, and you'll hear this, and I'll use 7th chords. So here you go, quick 4, in C, C7. Different chord there, oh nice. Oh, back to that same front chord. Alright, that's the 4 chord. Back to the 1. Here comes the G. Oh, another chord. Oh, there's a G7 at the end, setting up the C to start at 4. They call this the quick 4. A little more active. I'll stop it there to point something out. Alright? Notice how I was just hitting the C note on string 1, fret 3. Basically I just did a 8th note, a dotted quarter, let it ring. I did that on each of the first chords. And notice how that note actually sounded different compared to the C7. It sounded different compared to the C when it was in the F7. Right? So each note has its own color depending on, and it's influenced by the chord a lot. Right? So that quick 4. So I'll just let it run again. And this is where you could walk in on a band playing, and this is the things you'll listen for. Listen for the last measures. Here, F. Oh, where are we at? There you go, measure 9, 10, 11, 12, top. 1, 4, quick 4, back. So now you know where you're at in the progression. So a lot of it is just play lots and lots of ideas. Chord-wise, let's go to the chords. Okay, we'll do the C7. C7 here, any C7. They can be 13ths, they can be 9ths. Right? So any chord works as long as it's still that functioning chord. As long as it's still a 1 chord to C or C7, C9, right, or C7. Add into D. Let's play that. Let's add a D note. So now you can start to add other notes to this scale. Here's C7. Here comes the turn, the last measures, G. That D didn't sound that great, right? said, any note you play, just listen to it. If you like it, use it. If it doesn't sound great, try it in different spots. All right. So C7, that's the quick 4. Here's what the progression would look like. So written out. This is a printout of the pages from that iReal Pro. Any backing track works. You could even do this. Although I guess I don't know if you guys never got the YouTube going. So I'm going to go to YouTube. Type in C Blues. Spell it right. C Blues backing track. 12 bar medium blues. Never played this one. There's switch, that's the F. C. It's going to be a turn here, last minute. So it went to the F. Listen for the last chord. It did the turn back, so the 1. Stayed on the 1 the whole time. F. That's cool, you know, all kinds of stuff online. Gotta love the internet. We'll find another one. Blues Shuffle, Chicago style. This has a guitar player doing a little lead. I don't want to hear somebody else doing their solos. Do your own. Break the pedal out. And so back to the iReal Pro. It's a good program. It's well worth it. Let me dig it up here. Just for my 7. I'm going to change the style now. What I was doing was a little flat tire style, they called it. So I would pick some different styles. Here's Lucille. Has to be named after B.B. King. This is a slow one. 75. Move around. Do the frozen trick. Now, put some things I was thinking. I do a little bit of thinking when I'm playing. A lot when you're practicing. So I did a little lick here. Thought that sounded cool, so started on the next lower note. So usually 3 is a good number for repeating things. So the first time it's fresh and new. The second time, oh, I already heard it once. Third time, okay, geez, potential of getting boring. If you kept going, you'd lose the audience. You might even get bored. But then they would get interested again for different reasons. They'd be wondering how long you're going to do it. But, so usually 3, minimum you want to repeat something is 1, otherwise it's not a repeat. Or 3 times is a good, then change it up. So this did the same rhythm. Changed it slightly. Alright? So licks. The other way. some targets. That's pretty cool. That's a nice slow blues. Sometimes the faster blues are a little bit better.
Sorry.
Here's Muddy Water. 75. That'd be slow too. Texas Rock. Oh, let's go for that one.
What was the backing track you mentioned?
What's that?
I don't know. Someone asked that you missed.
I was doing iReal Pro. I type these chords in. I can email them to you. You would just click on them and they would load into your iReal Pro. They have devices for Android, iPhone, the computer. They're great for practicing. Because as you know, these things sound a lot better the more instruments there are. So this one is a blues track. Texas Rock. See what that sounds like. I never did this one. Tempo 120. Blues scale. Five chord, 4 to the 1. Bail out. Now, sometimes this program actually has the ability that you can put it on a repeat, so it repeats naturally, and then set the number of times 30 times. So we'll play this thing for a long time. As a mixer, it's pretty cool. I'm going to turn off the organ, electric guitar, and just have bass and drums. See how that sounds. There's the F, flat to the C. Use chords. Yep, C blues, C, E flat, F, G, B flat, C. Learn the notes of the neck. Because then it's less shapes. You don't have to worry about shapes. Oh, you can even change the, here we go, that was the Leslie organ. Rhodes with the tremolo. This is a fun program, you can get lost in it. It's pretty cool. So review a little bit, a couple minutes here, right? 8 minutes. C blues, C, string 3 open, E flat, the flat third from the C major scale, E flat, or the third from the C natural minor. F, the fourth. Blues is the passing tone, F sharp or G flat, sharp 4, flat 5, right, G, B flat, and the C finally again. Now they'll call the this sharp 4 flat 5 a blues note. There's a bunch of them. The B flat's a blues note when it's against the C or C chord, C major, right? The E flat is a bluesy note against the C. Gives us a sharp 9. Out to YouTube, did you?
I'm chatting with Daniel ate the sandwich to figure out.
Oh, she does those?
She's trying to help me.
They keep changing things on us. Ultimately, if this goes really well, all this stuff, you can, Vimeo is an expensive monthly thing, but you can live stream on Vimeo if you get their premium plan, which is like $75 a month. But then you can use these other software. It's high tech. Will automatically stream it to whatever devices you want. So you could do one stream,
camera views and stuff.
Views, and you could stream it to YouTube, Facebook Live, Vimeo Live.
If there's any YouTube experts out there,
Yeah.
I have my scheduled streams. I click on them and it usually then says go live. Now it's asking me to download software.
Yeah, YouTube's been changing a lot lately. It's Google. My goal was to de-Google.
That's why they're blocking us out, because you keep bashing them.
Yeah. I'll use a DuckDuckGo. There's a search engine actually out of Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, where it was created. They do not save any information on you. They don't track you. Your privacy is there. All right? You like shapes, though. Yeah, get your shape. It turns into a shape. It's the dots. If you're not thinking a lot, you can just play the shape, play the dots. Now, shapes don't work so well on the ukulele, especially if you have a high G. Low G, there's a little bit. There's only a couple places. That is one place where you can play a basic position scale, because I can move that up to D. Now, what's nice about this program, I'll play one of these tracks again. And you can change the key. I'm going to change it to D. I went back to the D minor. So I'm going to take that C blues that we did, the open position C, the 10 finger 1s at fret 1, move it up to fret 2. Now I have changed the fingering. So I can just play the shape there, but I know it's D, F, G, A, C, D. If you know the notes of the neck, you can get them as you play them. Now, a little sidebar. I talked about sliding into the notes. So here, if I do move it up to D, I have 1, 4, D, F, G, A, C, and D. And you notice when I was done playing that, when I was playing it, I had the open C. It's in there. So I'm going to slide into each note using the finger that would play that note. So watch. That's funny. Sidebar. Your ear gets drawn to melodies. We grown up listening to melodies. So I played that first 2 melody notes like this. I immediately thought of this song. I thought of Pink Panther sound like. You'll get sidetracked. So that was D. Look, I'm going to move it up to F. And you don't even have to care what the, where is that? Oh, there it is. The darn F was underlined, and it made it look like a E still. So here we go, F. Now you don't have to know the notes. F. But that's movable. F, A flat, B flat, C, E flat, F. Now you might ask what I played. I have no idea. I was in F. I know the notes. I sort of figured out what they were when I was playing them. As far as the licks, I knew maybe where I started. Want to get a decent sound here. Switch to the bar. I wanted to do little licks. Little Southern rock lick. Here's a little thing here that I did here is the bend. I wanted to get to this note, we'll go back to C. Okay, I want to get to the E flat. You can get to E flat by bending the D to E flat. That'd be a pretty big bend. Alright, that was an hour down the tubes, huh? Guess you're not getting that hour back, are you? No, but C blues, C, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat. Add that passing tone between the whole step. You can add this one. Jimmy Page added that. See, figure one played that note because I just got done moving it up, so it thought it was supposed to play that note. All right, any questions? You can email me and I can send you these blues tracks. What I'll do is I'll post on the learningukulele.com on the news page a post about what we went over in here. And I'll a link to these backing tracks. Or you can get the program, type it in. It's well worth it. It's either 9, 10, I don't know, it's under $20 for sure, but man, is it worth it. Because then you can actually go on to these forums, and I have somewhere, if you look at my jazz list, it's pretty duplicate, 1,300 songs. The Beatles, 37 songs. Get back. Now some of these backing tracks sound pretty cheesy. There's just using the MIDI stuff that's on the computer and stuff like that. But the idea is to use the chords and practice improvising over it, or play the melody over them. I got a lot. I got the entire blue book, my blue book, the A to Z blues chord progressions. Takes the simple progressions that we just did and takes them all the way out to doing these complex chord progressions that could look like this, with lots of substitutions. And the book explains every substitution, where it came from, because it can get crazy. Alright, so we'll see you till next week. Email me if you have any questions. A lot of this stuff, the shapes of the scales and stuff, there's a bunch of it online. Just go into the lesson page, type in blues as a search, and it'll take you to lots of assets for blues. 10 or 15 bucks for the tool. Yep. All right, we'll see ya. Adios.